The countdown is on for one of the most significant rounds of the year, Indigenous Round. It's also known now as Sir Doug Nicholls Round. For this episode of Cloakes Community, I'm here at Koori Heritage Trust at Federation Square. I'm going to learn about the significance of the land that lies between here and the MCG.
So we're a 30-year-old organisation. We're Aboriginal owned and managed. We've actually been here at Federation Square for about a year, nearly a year, but we've been operating for 30. And basically what we do is we're an arts and cultural organisation looking specifically at Aboriginal Victoria and supporting, promoting and celebrating the fact that we have this very strong contemporary community here in Victoria. So we actually attract a lot of tourists coming through Federation Square. We're also for the community, the Aboriginal community as well, and they come in. We have meeting rooms, we have a kitchen that people can actually make themselves a cup of tea or coffee. People come in, we've got a collection that people actually see up here on the third floor. Downstairs in our gallery, we actually have temporary exhibitions throughout the year as well. So there's a range of programs and services that we do. We also do a number of walking tours along the Yarra, also up at Flagstaff Garden as well. And it's an opportunity for visitors to actually see Melbourne from an Aboriginal perspective, but also Aboriginal perspective at the time of settlement, which I think is a fantastic opportunity.
So Travis, thank you for coming on our Scartree walk today over to the MCG. Having left the Heritage Trust, this is always our first site that we educate people on. And it's a significant site for us in the fact that it recognises firstly the 5 nations of the Kulin Nations, as you see on the plaque with the Wurundjeri, Bunurong, Taungurung, Dja Dja Wurrung and Wadawurrung. It's also significant that there's a plant for each of these, but the historical significance is the fact that from 1835 till pretty much 2013, what was taken away from the local Aboriginal people was ceremony. And so the first Tandarum ceremony that was reenacted here at Federation Square pretty much took over 150, 160 years to occur again from the last time that we actually had one. So it actually becomes a significant site to prove that our culture is still alive and strong and that our people are still practicing that culture. Once again, we're working in those groups of 5 to signify those 5 groups of the Kulin Nations. So you saw the message stick as we came past, there's 5 of those, 1 for each of those. And again, 5 types of spears and 5 types of shields. I think showing our diversity of our culture too, that it's not all exactly the same. There is a lot of diversity that's there, and that's even signified in our artwork that you've noticed all the way through so far, a lot of geometric features and cross-hatching signifying Victorian artwork, as opposed to, maybe dot painting that maybe from more that Central Australian style. And again, even with the shields and the spears themselves, and that diversity, so a fishing spear with the prongs. And it just shows we had a lot of different implements, depending on environment, depending on where you were. Our shields in Victoria were relatively small, obviously not desert people. We're walking through thicker grasses and bushes, etc. And even the walk that we're taking now, pre-settlement, that walk could have taken us anywhere up to 2 weeks to get from this point up to where we're going over to the MCG.
Right, super. Well, let's continue on down and get to the next one.
Part of our journey now is actually going over William Barrack Bridge. The bridge itself was built just in time for the Commonwealth Games. And what was really significant at the time was to ensure that such a feature of Melbourne's landscape won't happen very often, that we get those new things. So from an Aboriginal perspective, we did push for an Aboriginal name of this bridge, and really to make sure it had something significant to do with the Kulin Nations. And William Barrack himself was actually significant to all of the Kulin Nations, especially in being one of the first people to translate and speak English. And from doing that, then becoming very important in terms of his activism, if you like. And he was probably one of the early Aboriginal activists. He was Narangita of his tribe, so he was the head man, so he fought for his people. And the bridge signifies his walk that he did from Hillsville at Corranderk Station all the way to Spring Street here in Melbourne to fight for his people. So you imagine walking that 60 kilometres just simply to fight for your people, and it's believed that he did that, 100 times.
I guess the significance of what the bridge is and what it stands for, and then to have someone so, I guess, powering for all Aboriginal people and everyone connect to is fantastic.
Yeah, and it takes in a history in a contemporary sense in the fact that it does link people together as well. And so we talked about reconciliation and non-Aboriginal Australia coming together with Aboriginal Australia, and so to have a bridge that may signify crossing and linking is very, very important as well. So this is our last stop today, Travis. Clearly this is why we call it our Scar Tree Walk. You can see the scar behind you signifying probably a number of things that are important to us. Firstly, occupation of more than thousands and thousands of years old. Secondly, the fact that it is a culturally protected site right here with the MCG in the background, and you will not find that anywhere else in the world, I don't think, that actually have such heritage so close to such a significant modern day contemporary heritage for the whole of the Melbourne area. The other thing that this also tells us, especially when we are educating, is that it tells us about the land and what this land used to be. So from obviously clearly the river's so far away, there's no way a canoe would have been cut this far from the river. This actually did used to be wetlands all the way through, and it was bogs and marshes and lagoons pretty much from here all the way to the bay. And so the fact that we have this tree here still reminds us of what the land was, and the fact that it is protected is pretty much for us shows the importance of our culture and the need to protect culture and educate about the culture as well.
Well guys, thank you so much for having me today. It's been fantastic to learn so much about this beautiful culture, about the landmarks around this fantastic place, the MCG. But Lenny, you've been very quiet, mate. Like, what's this you're actually holding?
Yeah, have a feel. This is the original, what people call the AFL, or football today. In the olden days, pre-contact, people would be playing what we call Mangrook. Not that great fantastic football show, but that's the original name for the football.
So I need to take this out on the week. This might solve my goal kicking and just line up and slot it through.
Yeah, but in old days we only had 2 poles to kick through, but there's reinventions now, there are 4.
That's very cool.
But it's been great walking across here because we're back at the Melbourne Corroboree Grounds. That's my nickname for the MCG, where lots of ceremonies from disputes right up to playing football and sharing our cultures and that. And it's still lovely to be standing next to a special tree, signifying our connection still to country. And it's great that many other people are going to learn about the history of southeastern Australian Aboriginal.
Super, thank you very much, lovely. Thanks Lenny.
Pleasure,
thanks mate. Cheers. So Nath, you designed the jumper, you've come up with this fantastic design, the powerful image of the magpie, which is significant for the football club. Tell us about the style, design, and also the pattern that you've come up with.
This year I wanted to put the attacking magpie on the front of the Guernsey. I really wanted to symbolise the magpie as that fierce bird that it is. It's a really territorial bird. Anything that comes between its family and its nest, it'll attack straight away. I've seen magpies attack wedge-tail eagles and chase them away, so they're just such a fierce bird, and I wanted to put that on the front of the Guernsey.
So obviously the story of the magpie is sensational, but there's a lot of detail on the jumper. The dot work that's going down the sides and the back. I guess it's a story of some sort. Can you explain the story behind the dot work?
Yeah, so on the back of the Guernsey, I wanted to sort of pay respect to past Indigenous players, Aboriginal players that have put on the black and white. So I've got a meeting place on the back of the Guernsey which symbolises Collingwood's spiritual home, Victoria Park. But I've also put around that meeting place people sitting, so that symbolises different Aboriginal players that have come from different communities around Australia to play for the Magpies.
No, it's great. I think it's fantastic to reach on the past players. We've had some great players. Leon Davis has come through the club. Obviously Travis Varco still at the club now playing. I know talking to him, he's very passionate about this round for himself, his family, and also for his children as well. So I know the boys are very excited to pull the jumper on, to play for, I guess, Collingwood, but also past, present and future Indigenous players. And I think it's a very important round that we do promote, we do speak about, and I guess also create awareness, because I know we all look forward to putting this jumper on and understanding a little bit of what the jumper stands for and also means. So thank you so much for the design, it's fantastic, and this will go alongside every other of my jumpers, and I'm going to be very passionate about this Indigenous round jumper.